Good evening. The news summary for this Monday, 1st June. Try to dispose of as much as possible of cases before the Court of Appeal. This is Justice Anthony Fernando's priority as the new president of the Court of Appeal. Justice Fernando was speaking to the press after he was sworn in this new post during a ceremony held this afternoon at State House. During the ceremony, he took an oath of allegiance to the Constitution and a judicial oath in the presence of President Danifo, the Chief Justice, the Speaker of the National Assembly, the Attorney General, members of the Constitutional Appointment Authority CAA, and his wife. Fernando, a naturalized Seychellois originally from Sri Lanka, was previously occupying the post as interim president of the Court of Appeal in April, following the retirement of Justice Francis McGregor. His appointment follows recommendations of the CAA following a long career in the Seychelles judicial system since 1992.
I've been in the Court of Appeal for the last 10 years, and I feel, and prior to that I was the Attorney General for 10 years. So I feel I would be able to do a good job, and I'll do my best for the courts and for the country. First of all, we have to get over this COVID-19 crisis, and thereafter, that's an issue we might have to deal with, and I hope we'll be able to get rid of it soon, in the sense, get back to normalcy. I hope we'll be able to at least have 3 sessions. I'm hoping to no sooner things return to normalcy. I feel that we must at least, first of all, complete the April session, and then normally we have a session in September and another one in November. So this year, of course, we'll have, I don't think we can have anything more than 3 sessions. And at the moment, we are short of 2 justices of appeal, because one of the justices of appeal, she comes from Uganda, and the other, who would replace me, has yet to be appointed. So we have only 2 other resident judges, justices of appeal at the moment.
As from today, 1st of June, the Magistrate Court and the Family Tribunal have moved to Palais Justice in Iljupor. This will allow the judiciary to better implement the regulations put in place by the Public Health Department, such as physical distancing and hygiene. The public are being advised to avoid coming to the court unless it is necessary, unless to accompany a child, elderly or disabled person. The judiciary is also working on the possibility of making visual hearings to avoid gatherings and online payment for various payments done at the court. A retired pathologist has cast doubt on whether the cause of a man's sudden death on an outer island 35 years ago was suicide. Dr. Rubel Brewer was giving evidence to the Truth Commissioners about the poisoning of Maxim Hoffman on Marie-Louise.
Frail now, but still lucid, the 88-year-old retired pathologist recalled a case of severe pesticide poisoning in 1985. In fact, he recalled a cluster of 3, but one was unusual because of the quantity of poison ingested. Yet police never investigated.
Maybe I couldn't swear if this was Hoffman or if it was because there were 3 cases. He might have been one of those that I said that maybe it's good for the police to investigate. I never heard anything about it again.
The case was brought in January by the dead man's sister Blazilla, who's calling for the death to be fully investigated. After testifying today, Dr. Brewer described his personal disquiet.
It's not nice, actually, really, that you have to come back and you go over things that people have doubt about. Families felt that they lost their relatives and they were not sure how they lost their relatives. It's not a very pleasant thing.
Earlier, former Cabinet Minister Bernard Shamlai denied seeking a bribe on behalf of former President James Michel to secure Seychellois citizenship for a local man's Kenyan wife. Albert Napier had claimed Mr. Shamlai wanted 250,000 rupees to obtain a passport for his wife, who'd been living here for 17 years, an offer Mr. Napier said he declined.
I would have preferred not to have had to appear, but since I'd been there'd been something said about me, and the commission asked me to appear to listen to me. Of course I had to come.
The panel was told Mrs. Napier eventually gained citizenship based on her good character, without cash bribes changing hands.
There was practically no celebration for Children's Day today, the first time in years that the children of Seychelles have not been able to party, a restricted atmosphere brought about by COVID-19. During the day, most students attended class as usual. On this special day, the Minister for Education, Jean Simeon, visited Takanaka and Bilasa primary schools.
Like you know, it's Children's Day today. And it's a day for all children across Seychelles. And for Children's Day, in the past we used to have music, dancing, parties, but this year it's going to be different. And the students will understand that we cannot have parties, we cannot have a lot of rejoicing at the school, but they can still enjoy their day doing different kinds of activities. Teachers have got together and they have prepared activities that the children will take part in and will enjoy as part of their day.
The Institute of Early Childhood Education, ICD, together with the National Early Childhood Care and Education Trust Fund, have presented books to daycare operators and childminders services to mark the Children's Day today. Storybooks in English and Creole translation entitled Goldilocks and the Three Bears and the Little Red Hen were given to daycares, and some stack beds were donated to childminders services. At the same ceremony this afternoon, Kempinski Seychelles Resort and Grand Case brought their support to ICD with some cash donations. Kempinski Resort donated 100,554.38 rupees, and Grand Case donated 50,000 rupees to Chief Executive Officer Shirley Chopi. The ceremony was held at the site auditorium at Montfleury. That's the end of this news summary. Join me at 8 for the news bulletin in Creole. Until then, have a pleasant evening.